What if one of the most popular foods in America, a food that's sitting in almost every kitchen cabinet right now, could quietly be working against your health, not because of the peanut butter itself, but because of one mistake that millions of people make every single time they twist open that jar? It's not about giving up peanut butter. It's not about some rare allergy you've never heard of. It's something far more common, far more overlooked, and honestly, a little surprising once you see it laid out clearly. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what that mistake is. You'll know which peanut butter is actually the healthiest choice on the shelf. You'll know which popular beliefs about peanut butter are simply myths. You'll know exactly what to look for on a label in about 5 seconds flat. And you'll know who really does need to be a little more careful with it. So let's start at the beginning. Why did peanut butter become such a beloved staple in the first place? Peanut butter has been part of American kitchens for well over a century. It's affordable. It doesn't need refrigeration until it's opened. It has a long shelf life. It's easy to spread on just about anything. And for generations of families, it became the reliable, comforting food that never seemed to go out of style. Grandparents fed it to their children, those children fed it to their own kids, and now it sits in kitchens across the country as a kind of edible tradition. But peanut butter isn't just popular because it's convenient and nostalgic. It genuinely offers some real nutritional value, and that's worth understanding before we talk about where things can go wrong. Peanuts themselves are rich in what's often called healthy fat, mostly the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated kind, the same category of fat found in foods like olive oil and avocados. These fats, when eaten as part of an overall balanced diet, are generally considered more heart-friendly than the saturated fats found in many processed snack foods. Peanut butter also provides a meaningful amount of plant-based protein, which matters a great deal for older adults, since protein plays a role in maintaining muscle mass as we age. It contains vitamin E, an antioxidant that supports cell health. It has magnesium, a mineral involved in everything from nerve function to bone health. And it contains niacin, a B vitamin that plays a role in how your body converts food into usable energy. On top of that, peanut butter is genuinely satisfying. The combination of protein and fat helps you feel full longer than something like a bowl of sugary cereal would. For many people, especially those managing their weight or trying to avoid constant snacking, that feeling of fullness is a real practical benefit. So let's be clear about something right up front. Peanut butter is not the enemy here. The problem isn't the peanuts. The problem is something else entirely, and it's something so common that most people walk right past it every single time they go grocery shopping. Here it is. The biggest mistake millions of people make is assuming that all peanut butter is created equal. They see the words peanut butter on the label, they picture the wholesome food their grandmother used to make, and they never flip the jar around to actually read what's inside. Because here's the truth. Many of the most popular, most heavily advertised peanut butters on grocery store shelves aren't simply ground peanuts. They're a manufactured product built around peanuts, with added sugar, hydrogenated oils, and a surprising amount of sodium mixed in. And because it still says peanut butter right there on the front of the jar, people assume they're making the same healthy choice their parents made decades ago. Let's break down what to actually look for, because this takes less time than you'd think. Flip the jar around and look at the ingredient list, not the front label, the ingredient list on the back or side. A truly simple, minimally processed peanut butter will often have just 1 or 2 ingredients: peanuts, and maybe a small amount of salt. That's it. Now compare that to many conventional, heavily processed peanut butters, where you'll often find added sugar, sometimes appearing more than once under different names, along with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Those hydrogenated oils are used to keep the peanut butter from separating on the shelf, giving it that smooth, never-changing texture. But hydrogenated oils are associated with trans fats, which most health organizations recommend limiting as much as possible. Sodium is another place where things can quietly add up. A couple of tablespoons here and there might not seem like much, but for someone watching their sodium intake for blood pressure reasons, those small amounts across multiple meals can accumulate more than people realize. This doesn't mean every processed peanut butter is dangerous, and it doesn't mean natural peanut butter is automatically perfect either. It simply means that not all peanut butters are nutritionally equal, and reading the label for a few seconds can make a meaningful difference over time. And portion size matters here too. Peanut butter is calorie dense, meaning a little goes a long way. A reasonable serving is typically around 2 tablespoons. It's easy, especially with a smooth, creamy peanut butter, to eat far more than that without even noticing, and those calories add up quickly. Now that we've covered the biggest mistake, let's talk about several other common mistakes people make with peanut butter, because the sugar and oil issue isn't the only thing worth knowing. One common mistake is eating oversized portions without realizing how calorie-dense peanut butter really is. A heaping spoonful can easily be double or triple a standard serving. Another mistake is pairing peanut butter every single day with white bread loaded with added sugar, turning what could be a reasonably balanced snack into something closer to dessert. Some people assume low-fat peanut butter is automatically the healthier option. In reality, many low-fat versions simply replace the natural fat with added sugar or starch to maintain flavor and texture, which isn't necessarily an improvement. Ignoring the total calorie count is another common oversight, especially for anyone actively managing their weight. Flavored peanut butters, things like chocolate, caramel, or honey-roasted varieties, often contain considerably more added sugar than a plain version, even though they're marketed as a fun twist on a healthy food. For people who do choose natural peanut butter, not stirring it properly is a frequent mistake. Natural peanut butter separates, with the oil rising to the top. If you don't stir it thoroughly, you can end up with an oily first half of the jar and a dry, dense second half. Using peanut butter as a replacement for an entire balanced meal is another issue. It's a wonderful addition to a meal, but it isn't a complete meal on its own. Ignoring allergy considerations, especially in households with grandchildren or guests, is a serious oversight that deserves real caution. Forgetting to consider how peanut butter fits into specific dietary needs, such as sodium restrictions or diabetes management, is another common gap. And finally, simply assuming that because a food is traditional and familiar, it must automatically be healthy, regardless of what's actually in the ingredient list. Now let's clear up a few common myths, because there's a lot of confusing information floating around about peanut butter. Myth number 1: peanut butter causes heart disease. This isn't accurate. Peanut butter, particularly varieties without added sugars and hydrogenated oils, contains heart-healthy, unsaturated fats. The concern isn't the peanuts themselves, it's the added ingredients in certain processed versions, along with overall portion sizes and dietary patterns. Myth number 2: seniors should avoid peanut butter altogether. For most older adults without a peanut allergy, peanut butter can absolutely be part of a healthy, balanced diet. The protein and healthy fats can be genuinely beneficial, particularly for maintaining muscle mass and staying satisfied between meals. Myth number 3: natural peanut butter tastes worse than processed versions. Taste is subjective, and many people find that after a few weeks of eating natural peanut butter, they actually prefer the deeper, more genuine peanut flavor without the overwhelming sweetness they'd grown used to. Myth number 4: peanut butter will help you lose weight all by itself. No single food causes weight loss. Peanut butter can support a healthy eating pattern because of its protein and fat content, which may help with feeling full, but it's not a magic solution on its own. Myth number 5: low-fat peanut butter is always the healthier choice. As we mentioned earlier, low-fat versions often make up for the missing fat with added sugar or starch, which isn't necessarily a better nutritional trade. Now let's look at 3 fictional stories that help illustrate how small changes can make a real difference. To be clear, these are fictional examples created for illustration, not real patients or real medical cases. Margaret is 71 years old and has eaten peanut butter toast every single morning for as long as she can remember. For years, she bought whichever jar was on sale, never really looking at the label. After learning to check ingredient lists, she switched to a natural peanut butter with just peanuts and a touch of salt. She didn't change her routine at all, still the same toast, same time every morning, but she quietly reduced her added sugar and sodium intake simply by choosing a different jar. Robert is 68 and loves peanut butter, but he used to eat it straight from the jar with a spoon most evenings while watching television, often without measuring how much he was actually eating. Once he started using a tablespoon to measure his portions and paired it with a piece of fruit instead of eating it alone, he found he felt just as satisfied while naturally consuming noticeably fewer calories over the course of a week. James is 65 and had been buying a chocolate-flavored peanut butter for years, assuming that because it contained real peanuts, it was a smart snack choice. After comparing labels side by side with a plain, natural version, he was surprised at just how much more added sugar the flavored version contained. He didn't give up peanut butter, he simply switched jars, and that one change alone made a real difference in his daily sugar intake. These stories aren't about dramatic transformations. They're about small, sustainable adjustments that add up meaningfully over time. It's also worth remembering that peanut butter, no matter which kind you choose, is only one small piece of a much larger picture when it comes to healthy living. Regular movement and exercise, even something as simple as a daily walk, matter enormously for heart health, joint mobility, and overall energy. Staying properly hydrated supports everything from digestion to cognitive function. Filling your plate with a variety of vegetables provides fiber, vitamins, and minerals that no single food, including peanut butter, can fully replace. Getting enough overall protein throughout the day from a variety of sources supports muscle strength as we age, and prioritizing good quality sleep plays a role in everything from mood to immune function. Peanut butter can be a helpful, enjoyable part of a balanced diet, but it's never going to be the whole story. Now, there are certain groups of people who should be especially thoughtful before making any changes to how much peanut butter they eat. Anyone with a peanut allergy should avoid peanut butter entirely, and this should be taken very seriously given how severe allergic reactions can be. People with kidney disease often need to monitor their intake of certain minerals like potassium and phosphorus, both of which are present in peanut butter, so guidance from a healthcare provider is important. Anyone following a specific sodium-restricted diet for blood pressure or heart-related reasons should pay close attention to which peanut butter they choose. People managing diabetes should be mindful of added sugars in certain peanut butter varieties, and anyone managing cardiovascular disease or following an individualized dietary plan from their doctor should always check with their healthcare provider before making any significant dietary changes, including changes involving peanut butter. So let's bring this all together. Peanut butter itself isn't unhealthy. It never was the villain here. What matters most is the ingredients inside the jar, the portion size you're actually eating, and how it fits into your broader pattern of eating over time. A jar loaded with added sugar and hydrogenated oils, eaten in oversized portions every single day, is a very different thing than a simple, natural peanut butter enjoyed in a reasonable amount as part of a varied, balanced diet. And at the end of the day, no single food determines your overall health. It's the pattern, the consistency, and the balance across your whole diet that truly matters. So here's a question for you. What kind of peanut butter do you usually buy? Smooth, crunchy, or natural? Let me know in the comments below. I'd genuinely like to know. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like, subscribing for more evidence-informed health content, and sharing it with someone who might find it useful too. Always consult your physician or another qualified healthcare professional before making decisions about your health. I'm Alan Mercer, an AI-generated educational presenter created to explain evidence-informed health information in a simple and accessible way. I'm not a real physician, and this content is for educational purposes only.